Hi there, everybody. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet.
Angela Gabrielle here from Elevated Planet, and we'd like to welcome you to today's show where John is going to tell us more about it.
Yeah, you know, we're going to continue with the theme that we've had for the last couple of weeks because this is really going deep and really helping us to work our way through this journey because there's so many things going on in the world right now, and yet all the answers are right here. We go within and we can transcend any density that's out there. It's all up to us. But it's understanding the entire nature of everything, you know? The unity consciousness thing we know is, where we're heading. But it's understanding the dynamics behind that we're really exploring today. And it's a fascinating thing, and I'm really, looking forward to digging into this and to sharing this. We're going into this wisdom again with Angel Alariel. Now, you may recall where Angel Alariel came from in the first place, but again, it's coming back to the book, The Power of the Magdalene. The two authors, Joanna Prentice and Stuart Wilson. And Stuart Wilson was on a past life regression, lived out a life as an architect at the time of Atlantis, but still with very strong Essene links. So he's had many connections with the Essenes over the thousands of years. But he was very spiritually connected in that role as his architect in Atlantis. And he had access to an angel. And when they were asking questions, like during the deep, during the regression, then he would then refer back to Angel Alario to answer certain questions that he wasn't able to answer himself. And that gave them access through Stuart to tap into Alariel's wisdom. And the wisdom is really so deep and so profound and so worth sharing. Again, the book always comes highly recommended. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, the Alariel thing is a real gem. Times are changing, and there's everything. You mentioned, I think last week, you said it feels like time is speeding up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And things are changing, things are accelerating, and it's true. And we're going to start this second piece with a section that was inspired by Saratoga Ocean, who is a channel for Archangel Michael. So this is where this explanation comes from. And it's only a short piece, but it leads us into a section again by Alariel talking about the Melchizedek and Metatron energies working together. And again, a fascinating piece. So I think that it kind of helps us to understand what it is that we are seeing right now, and that will continue to escalate for a while ahead, which makes it even more important that we can actually, go within, find our inner peace, and connect in that way, because this is where our real power is. And along with our emotion and our imagination, these are all superpowers as well. This is how we create our reality. So what do you
Yeah.
reckon, Joel?
Yes, let's hit the button. Let's go.
Okay. All right, everybody, hang on to your hats. Here we go. So, the question is, what happens during a time of dimensional shift? Well, Saratoga Ocean, who channels Archangel Michael, put it very well. Here we are in our current dimension, and on the other side, our new dimension awaits. However, to travel to this higher frequency dimension, we have to go through this point of singularity, which means a condensing of all the energies. After all, we are all part of the unified energy field. So the point of singularity is our portal to this higher dimension. But we have to go through this chaotic contraction in order to come out the other side. But once we do, we find ourselves bursting through into an era of rapid expansion and advanced higher frequency evolution. And we need to be able to match that higher frequency by having shed any destructive patterns and behaviors of the past, which is why so many of these are coming back to the surface to be resolved and dissolved, as this is baggage that we cannot take with us. So don't suppress anything that arises, allow it to move through and be released into the light. This is a time of opportunity and joy, despite any near-term challenges, because a world of unspeakable beauty awaits.
Melchizedek and Metatron. When we were researching our first book, The Essenes, Children of the Light, Ilaria revealed a good deal of information about the Melchizedeks and their relationship with the Essenes. Although we understood that the Order of Melchizedek is a service order of advanced teachers operating in many parts of the galaxy, we still knew very little about the head of the order, so we framed a question to cover this. Joanna, could you please tell us about the great being who founded the Melchizedek order?
To understand Melchizedek, it is first necessary to understand his relationship to Metatron. The work of these two great beings interlocks, and neither can be understood in isolation. There are two main aspects of the universe: light, which may also be perceived as energy, and consciousness. Light creates all the levels of the universe, right down to the physical level. All that you can see, including other beings, are made of light, crystallized or solidified down till it reaches the physical level. Consciousness creates the process through which beings of light evolve spiritually. That evolution, giving you the reason for your existence and the arc of your development, both a rock and the greatest archangel, are made of light. But the consciousness of the rock exists in potential, whereas the consciousness of the archangel exists in unfoldment and realization. In vibrational terms, the consciousness of a rock is extremely slow, unorganized, and crude, while the consciousness of a great archangel is fast, structured, and refined. Metatron oversees the energy, the light aspect of the universe, creating the light and the protocols and language of light, while Melchizedek oversees the spiritual education and development of consciousness of all material beings. The development of angelic beings is overseen by Metatron. So in a way, Metatron provides the physical environment in which spiritual evolution occurs, while Melchizedek nourishes and sustains that evolution in the unfolding of consciousness. Their work is very different, but together they combine to provide a complete experience for many beings on many levels of development. And the net result of their combined work is to take life at a very slow and primitive stage and enable it to expand in awareness so that what emerges in time are enlightened beings.
Comment by Stuart.
Both Melchizedek and Metatron are considered to be great beings who exist beyond the normal constraints of space and time. Some authorities say that Metatron is an archangel, but as he is considered to be the most powerful of all archangels, it seems more likely that he is one of the Elohim, the leaders of the angelic host and the architects of creation. Most authorities regard Melchizedek as an advanced star being, that is, a member of a civilization in some galaxy who has gone through an ascension process and is now a timeless and eternal being of light.
The session continues. Joanna, is the Melchizedek teaching limited to sacred geometry?
By no means. It is hard for human beings to grasp the absolute flexibility of the Melchizedek teaching process. When they first contact a civilization, they spend time getting to know what that culture is most interested in, and when they teach within that parameter of interest. Some examples from Earth history may serve to illustrate this process. They discovered that the Maya were fascinated by time, so they taught them about calendars. They discovered that the Druids were fascinated by the natural world, so they taught them the wisdom of trees and herbs and stars. They discovered that the Greeks were fascinated by line and form, so they taught them about sacred geometry. They discovered that the Jews were fascinated by the contrast of light and darkness, so they taught them about the struggle between good and evil. They discovered that the Egyptians were fascinated by transformation, so they taught them about ascension. Amongst all the planets bearing sentient life throughout all the galaxies, they found many different peoples interested in many different things. And whatever that interest was, they talked about it. So they forced their views upon no one, but rather helped everyone to expand the seed of light that lay dormant in their consciousness. The Melchizedeks have a little phrase to explain this process. They say, We always work with the current of the water and the grain of the wood. And that is eminently sensible, for to try to teach a people something that they find dull and boring is a thankless task that the Melchizedeks are much too intelligent to attempt.
What do you see as the main purpose of the Melchizedeks here on Earth?
Above all, the Melchizedeks are trying to help you achieve your potential as human beings through helping you to refine your consciousness so that you can rise towards the highest reaches of human awareness. The Melchizedeks are fundamentally relinking all the beings they teach to the source by showing them how to access the truth, the divine presence within. This process has the effect of reprogramming the consciousness and aligning that consciousness with the underlying light structure of the universe. This automatically takes the individual away from a selfish and materialistic perception of things and reorients them towards more spiritual goals. The achieving of the goals that lie along your spiritual path will release great joy within you, and these experiences of joy may be seen as gifts of the Spirit. That is why the Order of Melchizedek has been described as administering the gifts of the Spirit, although, to be more exact, they administer the developmental process which enables the gifts of the Spirit to come into your lives.
So the Melchizedek thing and Metatron, that's a beautiful explanation of how all that intertwines together. And the points made there by Stuart Wilson as well about the Metatron energy as opposed to being an archangel, being the Elohim. And yeah, it's fascinating stuff. And one of the things I really like about the Melchizedek kind of things, I've really got a fascination with that at the moment. But when they're talking about amongst all the planets bearing sentient light across all the galaxies, this is where they interact with to identify where their points of interest are to help them develop those interests. Brilliantly put. But again, you just kind of think about this. This is not just about planet Earth. This is about the entire multiverse where these beings can go and help to evolve the nature of consciousness on that planet in a way that, as they say, we always work with the current of the water and the grain of the wood. So they are able to align their teachings with the natural inclinations of the people. And, that's beautiful. So one of the things that I also really, they're refining our consciousness so we can rise to reach our highest levels of human awareness. This is the journey we're on right now. Now, when you think of Yeshua ben Joseph, he was a Melchizedek teacher, right? Absolute master. And also, Drunvalo Melchizedek, right, is a great example of a currently incarnated Melchizedek who is here to assist our evolution right now. We know that he released his recent book, The Ancient Secrets of the Flower of Life, #3, which again comes back to this awakening the illuminated heart kind of thing, which I've done that workshop a year and a half ago. I'm going to do it again, but I need to get the book first. And unfortunately, it's not yet published in the UK, so I've not been able to get it because it's actually a work aid to the course. And what is all that about? That is about going into the sacred space of the heart, the tiny sacred space of the heart. Now, Drunvalo, I find really interesting because, again, apparently his name, Drunvalo, which not a name I'd ever heard of before, is a druidic name by all accounts. And it means little tree on the edge of a stream. So Drunvalo Melchizedek. And he came onto our planet in 1972, April the 10th to be exact, as a soul exchange walk-in into Bernard Perona. And again, this was a relationship that he and Bernard have had before. So again, this is not a possession. It's not a takeover. It's a soul exchange agreement that enables a higher consciousness being to come into an existing physical vessel so that they can begin this journey without having to be born, go through the veil of forgetfulness and having to learn and grow. You can step into the body of an existing person and be able to take the journey forward a lot quicker. So I know that, and again, I'm going to cover this in more depth because we've got to do a show on this. But when he arrived, he arrived through the Pleiades first, where he spent quite some time learning about the human culture from there, because the Pleiades have big links to humanity. Okay, also through Sirius, and then to Venus, I think it was that he spent. I forget now. When you research these things, you can kind of find out where he spent this time as he's coming. Now, one of the things I know that the reason his expression of consciousness, if you want to call that, was selected for this journey was that he had never lived under duality before. So he was coming at it from a very innocent perspective. And it wasn't his first incarnation. I think he'd come in before as a Native American over in New Mexico as well before that in a previous life. But we need to follow up on that because it is really interesting. Now, one of the things I just wanted to share with you from Drunvalo's book, The Mayan Ouroboros. Couple of little passages in here because again it really relates very strongly to what we are seeing at the moment. And of course, the Ouroboros, just an explanation of that. We said, when the white snake bites its tail, the Ouroboros, and it's perfectly aligned with the cycles of the Earth, the Sun, and the center of the galaxy, which are also biting their tails as the cycles come full circle, anything is possible. Will humanity respond and dream a new dream? Whatever happens will be in divine order, and as the events unfold, we will all soon witness the results of thousands of years of preparation by our ancestors. This is the time we're going through, okay? The precession of the equinoxes, which takes place every 25,920 years, and that is the time we're at right now. So this is the change of the cycle, right? This is why we came here right now, and that's why so many things are changing. Just flipping towards the back of the book, a couple more passages just to share with you. So link your heart to the heart of the earth, then to the heart of the sun, and then to the heart of the galaxy, and finally to the heart of the universe, and you will live forever. Mother Earth will protect and guide you. In Lakesh, you are another me, and I am another you. Oneness is the true nature of our relationship. The Ouroboros is the true nature of our circular reality. And I think that brings us full circle to where we started today, the importance of unity and oneness. And the way that Drunvalo puts it here, it's all a circular relationship, whether it is coming back to the movement of the stars and the planets, or whether it is us and this particular cycle. And just again, as one little finishing piece here, I marked out, because this is something we've covered as well. Drunvalo says, you live in a holographic universe based upon consciousness, and you are consciousness. You will find that you can use your consciousness to create whatever you need, and eventually you will realize that you need nothing. You are immortal. You are the ancient one that life has been searching for. Relax and breathe from your heart. Live within your heart, and everything will come at the right time. So we do create our reality. We are living in a holographic universe, and we have so much power that we have been unconscious about. But now we are tapping in and creating our reality. And this is why we are creating these moon alchemy meditations for people who are interested. And it's about literally putting your energy into a meditation that you can listen to during the moon phases, because there are energetic qualities to the moon in certain phases where you have to put in more effort, less effort, change it around, release what's not serving. And so we guide you through all that as well. But it comes back to what Drunvalo is talking about there. We are creators. We are creating everything around us now, and we're going to create a wonderful future. That's where it comes back to our world of unspeakable beauty.